What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp. Welcome to Fightful. It's July 5th, 2023. I'm back from London. I've done a bunch of shows since then. I did a Money in the Bank review, SmackDown review over on Fightful Select. I reviewed all the shows that I missed on FightfulSelect.com. Did a Backstage Report podcast on FightfulSelect.com. List goes on today on FightfulSelect.com. If you could guess, I'm going to be plugging that heavy today. Our numbers are down. We got to get $5 from you guys. But right now, we're right here with you. Leave a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Tap that bell for notifications. We are inching closer to 100,000 subscribers. And I'm ready. I'm ready to hit that benchmark. I was hoping that we could last year. Things slowed down for a little bit. We ended up doing a lot more work on Select than we do here on YouTube. But guess what? We're here every weeknight. And then a weeknight or a night on the weekend too, damn it. Mm-hmm. Basically, we're here every day. FightfulSelect.com, Fightful.com, and here at YouTube.com/Fightful. We've got Alex Pawlowski here. Big thank you to him for filling in on the main feed with Raw or for Raw last week. Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Good to have you back. Last week was me and Riccocino. If you described us, we would be exactly alike. However, we could not be more different. Guy in a baseball cap and glasses with a reddish goatee, but completely different people. Very, very different. But it was fun working with him. Yeah, but it's good to have you back. The father of Fightful, if you will.
I'm very happy. It's speaking of, it's Fightful's birthday this week. We're turning 7. And man, Alex, I think
this is the shirt I wore on the very first podcast I did with you.
There we go. I probably wore some polo shirt or something, trying to be half-ass professional.
You were like, can we get a colored shirt here, buddy? Come on, please. Come on,
God,
slob.
I think you might be the only one that, besides me, that is still from that. I'll have to check the invoices.
I think I'm the longest tenured employee besides Sean Ross Sapp.
Yeah, Kyler was not long after you. About 4 or 5 months later, I realized I don't like tweeting from my account, much less from the Fightful account.
Yeah.
And we'll probably talk more and reminisce on Fightful's birthday next week and all that stuff, especially on listing your boy. But yeah, as I look, it's been like me and you since the very, very start. And of course, we've had many other great people along the way. But there was one guy I found out. I'm pretty sure he was a furry. No big shocker that he was the one that used our tweet deck to tweet spicy stuff at one point, but I want to say unfortunately he is gone. Yeah, but not dead. He's just not Fightful anymore.
Right, no. But I am down since day one ish.
That's true.
I mean, that me and the Usos
and not a furry.
Not a furry. No,
not a furry. No. And we'll take
hairy, but not a furry.
Yeah. Get your super chats. Get your humper chats in. That gets your question or statement read on the air. It guides the direction of our show. It tells us what you guys want to talk about the most. Our great moderator, Luis, is going to help us out here. But hey, if you know what, if that isn't enough for you, guess what? Q&A show this week on FightfulSelect.com. Best $5 in the business. And on Thursday, I'm going to drop some big AEW news on FightfulSelect.com. We also have an interview with Athena dropping. The notes on that will go up early on FightfulSelect.com. But a few things that you might have missed today. Triple H wasn't at Raw. I told you why, who ran Raw, when he's expected back. We broke the news that Diamante is now full-time AEW. A lot of people, including myself along this way, thought she was. And then about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, I asked somebody on the roster, and they're like, no, she's not. She's under that one of the tiered deals. Not anymore. After 3+ years, she is official there. We broke the news of Harley Cameron in that same boat last week, which we'll be talking about very, very soon. But let's go ahead and get into these super chats, get into these humper chats. Tom LaValle said, 4 Buffalo boys on Dynamite tonight. Love it. Yep, indeed. And J.K. Schwal says, how confident are you that they can sell out UC for All Out? Do you think they've touted the early success of Wembley impacts those sales, either positively or negatively? Going to be an insane week for AEW. Can't wait. I wish that I could. I mean, this is going to be one of those, Alex, that is very uncharted territory.
It is.
Because WrestleTix posted that tickets distributed. Now, keep in mind, this isn't tickets sold, it's tickets distributed. So, how they've been distributed, I don't know.
Right.
75,000 for Wembley. They're turning right back around and running the United Center the next week. This is just uncharted territory. If anybody else can remind me of a situation like this, I would love to hear it. I mean, I know that a few years ago, there were some big shows that were pretty close together, like Mania and Greatest Royal Rumble, but that's a completely different situation. About 3-4 weeks separated those, or 3 weeks, but one was in Saudi, so it wasn't really the same. How are you looking at the ticket sales for Wembley, and how will it impact the United Center?
I think a lot of that depends on how AEW sets up Wembley. Like, is it set up so that we know going into Wembley, like there's a number one contenders match or something at Wembley, and we know whoever wins that gets the champ, whichever champ it is, at All Out, so that you kind of know going in what the card is. Is there a thing where, like, okay, we figured it out, so like we're gonna have a big 8-man tag in this faction versus faction thing that'll be at Wembley, but the leaders of those factions will have a match one-on-one at All Out? Are they going to set things up that way? So they're theoretically building 2 huge cards that happen a week from each other, and they're spending. They could start next week, for all we know, really building out that those shows, because those are the next big shows for them. So we should start figuring out. They should at least tell us that, like, the winner of this blind tournament that is going to get their shot at either All In or All Out. Like, we should know these things going forward.
Well, that blind tournament got off to quite the start. That's probably going to be a big topic that hits on tonight's show. Mr. B says, any early rec spec for the Blood and Guts 5th Men? BCC options feel really open. Chris Hero has the Claudio connection, working with AEW. Another outside pick, maybe Kyle Fletcher being recruited by Callus Osprey, but neither feel equal to potential Coda. Coda's the one that everybody wants, obviously. Who on the BCC side? Chris Hero is backstage. He is doing work. I think there are some other ones that make sense, like Pac, who the last time we saw him, he was getting his face busted open by the Elite. Who are you thinking?
I mean, Jericho. Like, the Don Callis saying, join my family. Well, the only other guy in the family is Takeshita, and he's in there, and he's recruiting him by saying, wouldn't you love to kick the crap out of Kenny Omega just one more time, just for old time's sake? It does feel like that is at least what they're teasing, if not going through with it. And it would mean that Jericho would be a part of all Blood and Guts matches, which I'm sure is something that he would hang his hat on. We'll talk more about that segment, how much it frustrated me, later in the show.
I am very excited to see how you feel about that one. But we got the blind eliminator tag tourney, Darby and Orange Cassidy defeating Swerve and Keith Lee. So from the get-go, you see Keith Lee doesn't want any parts of this, but I'll tell you what I like. They still tried to win. They conveyed how important winning was, and in turn, how important the tag team titles are, because even guys that don't like each other are like, we understand what this can do for our career. And Lee and Swerve understand that because they were once there. And since Lee was not there anymore in that tag team, he has had a lot squandered with his career. However, I think my favorite part of this match, Alex, was that you saw the flashes of the team. Like, they still got it as a team, and they realized it throughout the match that they still had it as a team. And they started to be like, maybe we can do this, until they couldn't do that. And Swerve accidentally kicked Lee in the head. We're finally going to get this match. It is happening.
It'll happen.
finally, it should have happened 6
long
months
time
ago.
At least
Should have happened
at least
5 or 6 months ago.
At least 6 months ago. Yeah.
Before this, Darby talked to Keith a little bit, but he was like, "You don't like the way your career's going? Do something about it." So I liked it. That gave Lee a little motivation.
This was the most Keith Lee that Keith Lee has been in AEW. That whole first thing where he was like, I'm going to Beal Darby like out of his shoes. And then OCL is going to get in and try all of his little stuff with me. So I'm going to grizzly claw him or whatever he calls that thing. The double open hand chop. That thing was amazing. Just beating up everybody. There was the wing where 2-on-1 were like, do a coffin drop to me, like a springboard coffin drop. I'll just catch you with one arm. And then your friend's going to do 2 orange punches to me. I still won't go down. Like there was some really great, like classic Keith Lee. I can't believe this guy is a human being stuff in this match that made me very happy. And some really fun stuff from Swerve as well. When Swerve accidentally did a splash onto Keith instead of Orange, he sat there laughing at it. Like, we are getting this match. This was fun, and I think that Orange and Darby work well together. We already know, potentially who they'll be facing in the second round. But because they keep like, oh, by the way, this is a team in the blind eliminator, and also just thought we should know this is a team in the blind eliminator. I have they named all of the teams, or are they just going to keep doing that over the next 3 or 4 weeks? Because it feels like they're not doing them all at once.
I think they probably don't have any idea who some of the teams are, legitimately. I mean, I know WWE gets a lot of flack for that type of stuff, but I think they really don't know who some of these teams are. I like this because it reset the necessity to have Keith Lee versus Swerve. Because at this point, it was like, all right, if they never do it, that's a bummer. And they really should have, and it was fumbled. But like, why just out of nowhere now? Well, here's a perfect reason. And I like it because you see, oh, yeah, they were one of the best teams that AEW ever had and won those tag titles, which is, a fair rarity in that company. But now we've got a reason again, and I really, really love that. I thought that they handled this very, very well.
Yeah.
Also handled well was the transition to the introduction of Nick Wayne, which I understand was supposed to happen a little bit earlier, but like they can't, before he works for AEW, he's got to be 18 years old, and he's turning 18 over the next week. He is going to wrestle next week, but we saw Darby Allin talk about how he was trained by Nick Wayne's father and about how Buddy Wayne passed away and how he was worried about Nick and knew that he could accomplish things on his own, but wanted to help take care of him. This showed another side of Darby. I thought there were 2 things that showed a great side of Darby. One, him going around there were the images of him signing action figures and with kids with their face paint on. And that's something that we talked about in our interview. He's like, man, I want kids to dress up as me for Halloween. I want people to feel represented by me. I want kids to be like, oh, that's who I feel like I connect to. And a person that connects to him an awful lot for a different reason is Nick Wayne, because they are so threaded through one another's lives. And Nick Wayne's about to get introduced in a big way. And as a result, Defy is going to get a little bump here because of the footage that people saw of Nick Wayne and Swerve. For those that don't know, Nick Wayne and Swerve have feuded outside of AEW, which ties right into Darby Allin in AEW and him feuding with Swerve. I thought that this was brought together very, very well and makes an awful lot of sense based on the ingredients that are associated with one another.
If you haven't had the opportunity to see Swerve versus Nick Wayne from last year when the kid was like 16 3/4 or something. I don't know how old. He might have been 17 by that point. That kid's got it. Like at that age, it's incredible what he can do. His instincts for selling are off the charts. His athleticism is amazing. He tells a story in the ring. He's in there with Swerve and does not at all look overmatched against a guy like Swerve. So he's fantastic. So the match they have next week should be tremendous. I really like this video package. I like the connection he has to Darby Allin. There is a wonderful opportunity to go, and I don't know that they'll do it this way, but to go from Sting is the mentor to Darby as the mentor to a guy even younger than Darby, and just smoothly transition into it. So that could be a lot of fun.
Very excited about that. Anthony Martin says all the teams got named tonight. The semis are next week. They did name them during the Omega match.
Okay, so that's all of them. I did not know if that was all of them or if they had another battle.
Fair, because we didn't necessarily see how many, like how big the tournament was going to be, so to speak. We've got Meet Norma saying this episode of Dynamite was sports entertainment heavy. Did Vince and TK burn one and say, "Are you ready for a good time?" 4 out of 5 show. Enjoyed the wrestling. Tony has booked many entertainment heavy shows. Like, I think anybody that implies different just probably hasn't watched it. Just haven't watched it. Jack Perry interview. He wants an FTW title shot. I didn't get to talk on this a lot last week, but it's a little rough around the edges, but I like it.
I think I'll grow into it.
I've had some people say this is closer to the real Jack Perry. I'm just saying.
Great.
I've had some people saying,
give me more. Let's do it.
This is a little closer to the real Jack Perry than Jungle Boy, guy who's legitimately got millions in the bank, has a beautiful girlfriend, does this because he wants to, not because he has to. And here he is. I wish I could remember who it was that said they need to do Jungle Boy or Jack Perry versus Hook, hair versus hair. Boy, that's a move right there.
Oh, yeah.
That is a move right there. I would love to see that.
If you're serious about this Jack Perry heel run, then having him have a hair versus hair with Hook allows both options. What a heel move to shave off Hook's amazing tresses, and bald Hook would be so damn menacing. But also,
you know what? He comes out afterwards. He's got the towel over his head like Taz.
Or which would give another thing to Hook as well. Or having him have to cut the thing short, like, removes all vestiges of what Jungle Boy was. So much of Jungle Boy was, oh my God, look at that hair. Look at that amazing mane of hair. But once you remove it, we don't identify with the old Jungle Boy anymore. We don't see that when we see Jack Perry. So if you did a hair versus hair, Hook versus Jack, ultimately both options are great ones, and they get to pick one. That rarely happens.
What'd you think of the Jack Perry promo?
I think it's just fine. I think that there was a lot of, I thought, outsized hate for his promo last week. It wasn't great, but he's gonna get better at it. It's his first heel promo. Like, it'll be fine. He's gonna be fine. I do just love also that we still have mostly silent Hook, who's just now out for revenge, who just will not stop until he gets his hands on Jack Perry. I kind of like that, a little bit of the Terminator to him. So that was fun too. And just the idea of what is Jack Perry going to do when he doesn't have an SUV with the keys in the ignition running, because that's going to be different.
He's just going to throw the key fob at a distance in there and make sure that it gets going. The teams that are announced: MJF and Cole, Daddy Magic and Butcher, who are eliminated, Swerve and Our Glory eliminated, Cassidy and Darby, Yas, Sammy and Daniel, which we'll talk about a bit, Jeff Jarrett and Big Money Matt. I love that team. I love that team.
Do.
But let me tell you a couple that I love: Trent and Matt Sydal.
Sure.
But Brian Cage and Big Bill.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I love that one. I love that. And if that leads to them having a match, cool. I'd be cool on that.
Sure.
Koi says Jungle Boy needs his theme to be the 90210 themes.
Yep.
They were working on a new one for him, but I haven't heard an update. We got an update on Eddie Kingston. He won the New Japan Strong title. Unfortunately, Willow lost, but it's to Julia, so she's great. I love seeing this for Eddie Kingston. It's like he's more, I think he was always more of an All Japan guy than a New Japan guy.
Yeah.
But still, this is very cool to see. I love that. Good things happening to Eddie Kingston is good for wrestling, in my opinion.
Yeah. In his reaction to having won it, like it's so emotional, and you could tell it was so real in that moment. I'm so happy for him. And I love that they are building this thing between him and Moxley while he's overseas. This Moxley pre-tape was excellent. Like the whole thing, running him down. Like, man, we live for every day. We don't dwell in the past. What are you doing? Why are you angry all the time? Look where we are. Think of where we were 9 years ago when we met. Look where we are now. Why are you angry all the time? And then he ends it with, Eddie, pick up your phone. I love that little detail of like, you're not going to pick up the phone when I call, but I know you're watching Dynamite. So we need to talk. Like, I thought this was excellent.
Also, I want to point out last week, Renee getting involved added so much because she does not get involved. She is the perfect example of a professional on-screen journalist, broadcaster in that capacity. And she said, no, not happening. Matt and Jarrett. He can slap a tornado, but can he slap nuts, Alex?
No, right. It's true. I did. He went back to a little bit broken Matt, where he was like, the nuts of the slap. I hate Jeff Jarrett.
I love that.
Why not?
I'm all for this
Slapper
team.
of
Why
nuts.
not?
There you go. Slapper of nuts. That's what he called it. Slapper of nuts.
I wonder, like, I look back. So when they faced the Guns, I was like, I'm sure they face each other at some point in the 90s. And they did.
Yeah.
So I'm looking back. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Jarrett and Owen Hart defeated the Hardy Boys in March 1999 in a WWF World Tag Team title match.
Wow.
Amazing. That is amazing. Of course, they wrestled at WrestleCade in 2015. That's cool.
Wow.
So a little bit of history there. They've wrestled at two WrestleCades. I saw them wrestle at WrestleCade a few months ago even. So that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Joel says Sean calling out this team on In the Weeds earlier this morning. It's just funny to be like Matt and Jeff Jarrett. Like, I love that. I think that's wonderful. We got the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn defeating the Blade and the Bollywood Boys. Listen, this match existed. It happened. Cool.
It was a thing. It was a thing.
You know why it happened. They're getting a pop. Cool. I'm just glad the Bollywood Boys are on TV because I think they're great. They've worked their asses off since leaving WWE. So I'm always happy to see any opportunities that they get. They look like $1 million. And they gave us the Sing Bomb back in the day. And I will always love and appreciate that. It's one of the coolest spots I've ever seen. Also, a couple of wonderful guys outside the ring in my interactions with them. But what more do we have to say about this? This was an easy pop, a win, Bollywood Boys on TV to set up an on-screen angle.
That's about the size of it.
Well, Harley Cameron interrupted the scissoring and said that next week she's going to show everybody just how talented she is. What do you think about this? Because what they did was they had her do this segment on Rampage, which honestly, people in the company were very impressed that she was able to kind of keep up in that and wasn't shaken at all. And of course, AEW is very, very happy because they got a big viral moment out of it. Anthony Bowens was happy about it because that was what he said, a very pivotal, cool point of his life to have people positively chanting he's gay at him.
Right.
And now they carried it over onto Dynamite. This seemed like a Rampage feud to me.
Yeah. I don't know if they're like, hey, everyone loves the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed did say that they were going to do everything on Wednesdays and on the weekend. So maybe we're just getting Acclaimed on TV as much as possible. I listen, I think that QTV versus the Acclaimed is a wonderful little fun sideshow thing that you can do. That, like, we talk about this. Wrestling is a buffet. You can pick what you want. But there are people who have no time for the comedy stuff and people who love it. This is that. This is the comedy stuff. It's great. If you don't want to hit that station on the buffet, you don't want this particular thing, that's fine. You don't have to have it. The people who do love it, I think it's great. Here's what I don't want. And what I was very upset to see on Saturday. Will Hobbs should not require the help of QT Marshall to beat anybody. Powerhouse Hobbs is his own dude. I thought them bringing in John Morrison, Johnny Mundo, Johnny TV was the thing they were going to do to get Hobbs away from this. But apparently he's still involved, and I just don't. I think he's not. I think the QTV can work with the right people in it. And
Hobbs doesn't need to be in it.
Hobbs doesn't need to be in it.
Doesn't need to be in it. Ricardo says Fightful's the best $5 a month I pay. FightfulSelect.com. I was a little worried last week. I was like, okay, I'm leaving for the UK. Will we have enough stories? Blah, blah, blah. We had over 25 exclusive news posts, and we do these things called select portions, where if I don't feel like it's big enough for an individual story, I'll cram like 6 notes in there. We had 40 of those notes that other websites made into full articles. So,
of course,
listen, we're heading up the table here for these wrestling websites. Go over there. Get it directly, FightfulSelect.com. If you have a question about a story, you can drop it on FightfulSelect.com, and I'll do my best to answer it.
Yep.
Inso Gray says, I admit that I'm an AEW mark. Good wrestling makes me happy. Glad you had a good trip, Sean. Did you play any board games with the lads? I didn't. I did film some other shows with them, but it was Quizzlemania and that. I wish that we did board games because I love to know rolls barred. G Bro says, Randy murdering those boys exists in my sleep. Yeah, I bet it exists in theirs too. Brandon Charles Powell said, also, I got word from someone that Randy calls that the Sing Bomb personally now.
Does he?
Yes, I take great pride in. I'm so happy about that. The Sing Bomb and Brawl Out are the 2 things that I am so glad that Fightful helped create.
Excellent.
We got Y2J coming out, and he's like, man, I need to make a change. He's like, I need to make a big change. Maybe the biggest change ever, to be the best Chris Jericho ever. And Don Callis interrupts and wants him as a part of the family. We know about Don Callis's history with Chris Jericho, and if not, commentary has filled us in on it. I'm sure you're going to bury this. I just want to hear what you have to say.
Well, listen, Don Callis coming out, and I was like, oh, no, God, no. Like, one of my favorite things in all of wrestling, maybe the last 5 years, is the BCC. You're not putting Jericho anywhere near that team. Especially, listen, I'm a big fan of people holding grudges. That's why I love Eddie Kingston. There's no reason anybody in the BCC would let Jericho team with them, which is why I do think ultimately this is a red herring. But if it is a red herring and he does ultimately say no to Don Callis, I think that's supposed to count as a babyface turn. And babyface Jericho ain't my jam. Like, even more so than heel Jericho. Babyface Jericho gets to come out and think he's really cool in his dad rock gear. Like, it just doesn't work for me at all. So I personally am damned if they do and damned if they don't, because otherwise either we get him joining the BCC for blood and guts, which I don't need to see, or it's him being the bigger man and letting his charges, Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara, branch out on their own. Fly free from the nest, little birds. I have taught you all that I can. No, I don't want either of those things. I don't need either of those. I don't want it. It's just not for me. It's not for me.
You know what kind of babyface Jericho I would like, but it wouldn't work in this situation for a specific reason. I would love the Jericho that came back and he was super babyface in WWE. And I mean, like, was doing the fired up thing and yeah, and then leaving. That would be great. But MJF's doing that right now, and he's doing it better than anybody else can do it.
That is true.
Because I think like ironic babyface Chris Jericho is something that I could enjoy, where you're like, is he really a piece of shit? Because I don't know anymore.
This is the thing. Like, MJF has cornered the market on that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, ain't nobody else should even attempt it because you're not going to measure up. No. You are not on the level of the devil when it comes to this particular shtick.
Tom LaValle says no, communism is a red herring. I believe it's a red herring. I don't think that Jericho's going anywhere near this match at all. Nowhere near this. What else do we got here? We got Luis saying, I think Garcia will be the one joining BCC Don. I don't think so either. But Jordan says Don and Dom have nuclear crowd heat with the crowds. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, this is working very, very well. The Don Callis thing. They turned him, and the crowd wants to boo him. And that's what I love.
They revile him, and he is so good at, oh, well, I'm not just going to sit here, and then whenever I open my mouth, I'm going to stop. I'm going to cut the promo that you guys don't want me to cut, because that's actually the point of me being out here. He's great.
Brandon Charles Powell says somewhere in an alternate universe, Dominic Mysterio and Don Callis are in a faction together. Maybe toss in Christian Cage. Imagine that heat. If Don Callis and Dominic Mysterio were in the same company, they would absolutely be woven in together now, without a doubt. Chris Hart says, my fear is he's the fifth man for the Elite. I doubt that.
If he turns down Don Callis. Like, listen, the thing is, I don't know why I didn't see it sooner when there were openings. I honestly do believe that Jericho takes pride in having been in both Blood and Guts with different factions. And I think that he would take even more pride in finding a way to also be in the third one when he had nothing to do with either team until right before it. But I don't know that's happening, but it does strike me as something that they might be pushing for.
CM Punk and Samoa Joe vignette. Buddy, I am going to be watching that right side by side on the screen with a great UFC show this weekend. Even though they're not sponsoring it this month, I'm going to be using nordvpn.com/Fightful to get that pay-per-view. But it's going to be fight night on Saturday. I can't wait for that. FightfulSelect.com reported months ago that Punk was eager and pushing for a Joe program and match very early on in his return, and he's getting it. We got the Hobbs and Starks video, which makes sense. The Owen Hart tourney, that was a heavy part of tonight's show. But buddy, we are about to get into the real highlight of the real show. Thing. The real highlight of the show. HelixSleep.com/Fightful. Let me tell you what, Alex. I was in London this past week. Do you know how many times I slept longer than 4 hours in a row there? Try 0 times. 0 times I slept longer than 4 hours in a row. I missed my bed so much. The bed I had in London was rock hard. The pillows were terrible. And that's because I'm spoiled by HelixSleep.com/Fightful. A few years ago, I wanted to heal up my neck, my back, my spine, all that stuff. I wanted to invest in my sleep. And I found HelixSleep.com. I ordered a Helix Sleep mattress. I took their online quiz. They matched me up to the Dusk Lux model. It helped me sleep a lot better. I can sleep on my back and my side now. And then I hit them up and I was like, guys, I would love to work with you guys. I want to deliver this to our Fightful faithful. And they said, heck yeah, let's do it. And we've been with them for years since now. HelixSleep.com/Fightful. Right now, they got a great deal over there, as they always do. Let's be real. But 25% off any purchase using the code Fightful, and you get 2 free dream pillows. I did not have this in London. My pillows were flat over there. I came home. I got a great night's sleep last night. Take that sleep quiz. Get the comfort design for everybody. They've got mattresses designed to cool you down, align your spine. They even have one for plus-size sleepers. Whether it's soft, firm, you need more support, you get hot at night, find the right mattress, not the average one. They have thousands of 5-star reviews. You got all the greatest publications putting them over. GQ, Good Housekeeping, Wired, and of course, Fightful. But like I said, 30,000 plus 5-star reviews, a 100-night sleep trial, 10 to 15-year warranty, and free U.S. shipping. But there's more. Financing available as low as 0%. So if you need it to fit within your budget, they got you covered. HelixSleep.com/Fightful. Investing in my sleep was one of the best things that I ever did. It gives me a more versatile night's sleep. I stay asleep longer. I wake up feeling a lot more rested. It's a good time at HelixSleep.com/Fightful. I always put it like this. Helix is the sponsor I probably use the most from Fightful. NordVPN's the one I use the most when I'm awake. So quite literally, over half of my life is used with those sponsors. So check them out, HelixSleep.com/Fightful. Roderick Strong's backstage in a neck brace, and I love it. He goes, "I feel awesome." And he's trying to get cleared, but I just love it. He's back there. He's like, "Nah, Doc, I'm good." No, he's not good. He ain't good at all.
He's not good.
And he's worried about Adam Cole. And he's like, "Buddy, you got to watch out for MJF." And Adam Cole's like, "What are you talking about? Of course I am." He is me talking about any MJF story. People are like, "How could you get worked by MJF?" I'm like, when MJF has ever told me anything, I've had to go verify it with other people, even if it's about him, because you can't trust him inside or outside of the ring. So, like, if he tells me something in an interview and it seems like it's a noteworthy thing, I got to be like, "Hey, is this really what happened? Does he really have heat with this person? Or is this him working?" So that's the way that it is on TV. That's the way that it is IRL. The guy isn't trustworthy. He's a weasel. He's weaseled his way up to the top, but he's a talented weasel, Alex. And we saw this phenomenal vignette after Adam Cole got a text message saying, "We need to do the double clothesline." MJF is going to hang out with Adam Cole. They're working out in the gym. You see indie wrestler Puff in the background. And they're not really connecting until they're talking trash about Tony Schiavone.
Nope.
This is amazing, Alex.
This
Please
was
tell me how you felt.
This was great. I thought the vignette was very well done. Both guys are really good, just natural performers. You get them out there and they can sound like human beings without sounding like, so yes, I would like you to spot me. Like, there's just too many bad actors in wrestling, and these two guys are great at it. This whole thing was excellent. But I gotta talk about just MJF on the whole. There is the I can't believe how much sincerity there is in his bullshit. Like, he absolutely is making me believe that he is a good dude, even though I know for a fact he's lying about all of this.
Everybody does.
He's so great. I love it. I love everything he does to try and be a good dude and Adam Cole's friend. You know in your heart that he's not. And yet he's so damn good at it. He almost makes you believe. That's the mark of a true performer right there. He's excellent.
Get your super chats, get your humper chats in about this, and we're going to spend a little time on it. Because it only got better after that, Alex. Because they worked a match against Daddy Magic and the Butcher in this blind eliminator tag tourney. And again, here's what I love about it. Two guys that don't like each other. They weren't happy about teaming with each other. But an opportunity at the tag titles, even for the world champion, is too good to pass up.
Right.
I love that. That adds to the importance of it. It isn't like, hey, I'm going to watch people run by me for this 24/7 title and not even bother with it type of thing. I love this. And as Irene says, the can they coexist plot line is cliche, but this is so good. And I'll tell you what the best part of it was. MJF playing babyface in peril. And he's writhing and screaming, "Somebody help me. Ah!"
Yeah.
Adam Cole gets the hot tag, and I just love it. Daddy Magic and the Butcher are cutting him off at all time.
Yep.
And MJF wants the double clothesline, but he doesn't get it, Alex. That's their big finish, the double clothesline. and it's going to build up till they do it or
Right.
they don't do it.
Right. They're going
And-
to go ahead. Finish.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, because here's the way they've basically told us who's this. Different teams are fighting on Rampage, and they've told us the winner of this match is going to face these other teams who already went through tonight. So MJF and Adam Cole next week are almost 100% going to face Big Bill and Brian Cage, because now we get to see MJF really in peril against much bigger dudes. He's going to like totally play off how small he is and everything, but they're going to attempt the double clothesline on Big Bill, and he's just going to stand there. Like, it's going to be so great. I can't wait for it. It's going to be so great.
I want to see Adam Cole bring out MJF's babyface, and I want to see MJF bring out Adam Cole's heel.
That's the secret sauce of all of this, because watching MJF try to be Adam Cole's friend, Adam Cole, like to the untrained eye, looks like kind of a dick because he's rebuffing all of MJF's being nice to him. But we know Adam Cole is just being smart because we also know MJF is lying. But it's so wonderful the way that you can watch this knowing all the context. But if you strip it away, it's Adam Cole being a jerk. Come on, man. He set up all the streamers that conveniently only landed on him, and then brought out a bunch of guys with a tiny birthday cake. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So after this, MJF's like, hey, one more thing. Happy birthday. And then a whole celebration breaks out. This was their This Is Your Life segment.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about just this. I'm talking about the backstage segment, the vignette, the match, and this. All encompassing. Because if you remember, that segment got like 20, 25, 30 minutes, and it went overtime. This got a lot of time too, all together. The streamers was such a great spot. King of the North.
So good.
King of the North says MJF scolding Adam Cole for cheating eventually. That would be great. Where MJF is like, not like this from the apron. Not like this. And he's shaking his head. Don't do it. Like Adam Cole puts the ring on and goes to hit him. And MJF stops him and he's like, not like this, Adam. Not like this. MJF is every white meat shitty baby face that hasn't worked for 30 years, but he does work because
he's doing ironically. That's why it works.
He's Rocky Maivia coming through the curtain at Survivor Series 96 with pineapple hair and like the outfit going, yeah, Blue Chipper. That's Blue Chipper right there. No, that's MJF, buddy. The baby face.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Reese Power says, I'm already depressed for the MJF and Cole split. Alex, so help me God. In that vignette they film, MJF has to be bewildered by something and go, oh, suffer and succotash. It has to happen. He has to break out every failed babyface line.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, I need it. Vasco says, MJF stole the show. He has a friend. Loved it. So funny enough, like some of the most entertaining stuff was MJF with Cody, because I am always such a big fan of the babyface and the heel as a team. And like Sting and Luger is one of my favorite teams ever.
Right.
Because Sting is a white meat babyface and he knows Luger's an asshole, but it's his asshole. It's his buddy. It's his friend. But like there would be little things like Luger would be behind Sting and be like, you all suck. And then when Sting would turn around, he'd start slapping the fans' hands and stuff. That's what I loved. Like Sting would be pretty diplomatic and Luger would pick fights with the Road Warriors. And Sting is like, what are you doing? Like, this is stupid. I don't even want to do this. Like there's such a good dynamic. And I don't feel like we've quite had that in WWE, AEW since then, except for the brief thing with Cody and MJF, and I want that for a little bit. I want it to lead all the way up to All Out or All In.
Yeah, this is how you can stretch this thing between him and Adam Cole all the way to All In, All Out, because to All In and Out. And I think the way that you do that is you do this whole, have him go through the entire tournament. And honestly, when I look at the bracket, I don't see them losing. I think they probably come up against Orange Cassidy and Darby in the finals and win. And then it's them against FTR. like that would be a lot of fun. You'd have people actively rooting somehow for them
Also,
for them to do it. Like, that'd be crazy.
That'd be interesting because Dax and MJF ain't on the best of terms either.
Probably not. I would.
They're not. I know they're not.
I mean, like I would say, what I mean is that's not surprising. So.
Yeah, they are not on the best of terms as best. I mean, I think Dax even spoke about it on his show. King of the North says, "I can't wait for the actual double clothesline. The crowd is going to pop when they finally hit a double clothesline."
Yeah.
I love that now every year we have a lethal lottery thing they can go to and people are going to look forward to it.
Yes. And next year, please do mostly lethal lottery type pairings, because it was fun to see Daddy Magic and the Butcher together, and it's kind of cool. We get Trent Beretta and Matt Sydal and Big Bill and Brian Cage. They serve a purpose being two big guys for this whole thing. But like, there are too many. Hey, you guys are already friends and now you're a tag team. Like, I call shenanigans on that. RJ City, I don't know if you're reading the right name off of there. That seems like something, I don't know. Danny Garcia and Sammy Guevara seems like a little too much of a coincidence.
I would have loved like a skit with RJ City where he rigged them all and he goes, Kenny Omega and CM Punk. Wow.
Who would have known?
What the odds? He would be great at that. Of course, RJ City's already on Threads, by the way. You'd be shocked to learn that. Follow us over at Threads. It's the new Facebook, Instagram style Twitter. I am on there as Sean Ross Sapp. Here's the thing. Having an incognito Facebook, Instagram account isn't so helpful when you got Threads, and now your name on there is Sean Rose Sapparoonie. But I am on there at Sean Ross Sapp. We are on there at Fightful Online, so check it out. We are going to be using that pretty heavily. Engagement numbers looking real good over there. So, yeah, guys. By the way, make sure to leave a thumbs up right here. We'd greatly appreciate that. Meet Normus says, if this wasn't 5 stars, but building around an abdominal stretch, rope holding, and coexisting with cinema, sorry, Reg. This was great. I agree. I also liked Britt Baker's promo. I thought this set up the match very, very well. A match that got a great reaction from the crowd. It's going to lead to shenanigans with Ruby Soho, but the pop for Britt Baker's kick out was very, very good. Like, the crowd loved it. Britt is over. She got a star reaction. That's good to see. I mean, all the ups and downs with Britt Baker from a face, heel, face, or pseudo face perspective, it's good to see this. She's going to be that woman that is always around, and people are like, all right, she's been here not since day one, since before day one, because she was on All In. She was the girl that was there, and I adore Deonna Purrazzo's work. She had to pull out of All In to go sign with WWE. Chelsea Green is now in WWE. Madison Rayne ended up going to Impact. She's gone back to AEW, and Tessa Blanchard got the hell out of wrestling. So the lone woman for that 4-way out of the 5 women that were scheduled for it at some point that have been there through all that is Britt Baker. So she's always been there. She is the anchor and the face of the women's division. So I don't think that it's a heelish thing for her to outright say that she's the face of the division, because she is. Right.
No, I agree. I thought this was the promo was fine. Bringing out the pink belt, the Pepto belt from that she won when she won the tournament last year is great. Bring it to ringside. It kind of like to rub it in Ruby's face that I beat you last time. Them showing the end of their match last year was great, because we got to see Ruby lose when I think a lot of us really wanted her to win to get that victory. And then the match perfectly did the callback to that exact ending. Wonderful.
Yeah. I liked the match a lot. I thought it was good that Britt was like, you know what? I'm going to take the same thing from you that I took from you last year, and it's this title. I'm just going to do it a lot quicker this time. I'm going to do it in the first round. Britt getting beaten. Like, Britt has, to me, I'm not going to say it's calculated, but Britt does not hesitate to lose to anybody. Like, she'll take pins. Like, she knows that she is bulletproof within that company, and she should be. She is perpetually over. Losing is not going to hurt her, but it'll help Ruby Soho an awful lot. It definitely will. Andrew Cook says, I'm rooting for Ruby versus Willow in the finals now. There's good history there, and either one of them could use the accolade in AEW. I would stack those accolades for Willow, but I think that Ruby getting something would be nice because it has been like always the bridesmaid, never the bride for her in a lot of ways. And a lot of people wanted her to win it last year.
Yeah, that's true. I think it would be interesting if they ended up doing like heels winning the tournament again this year, since they won it last year and it felt odd. But you could convince me of either thing. Sky Blue being like the ultimate homegrown, somehow beating Ruby and moving on to the finals to face Athena. Unbeatable Athena would be a really interesting thing to do too, but I do believe it will be Ruby versus Willow, specifically because I don't think they ever really finished off that, hey, we were teaming together and best friends, and then you kind of turned on me and joined up with the green people. Like, what's up with that? And I think there's an awesome opportunity to do that. And even though it would kind of suck for Ruby losing it 2 years in a row, there's no better ambassador for this whole thing than Willow. Like,
Willow's great, yeah.
She would be so
Also,
amazing for everything about it.
Good on them giving Sky Blue some wins too. You gotta make her seem like she's a threat if you're gonna have her on Dynamite all the time.
You do. Yeah.
I think it is very important to do that. But I kind of want to see Ruby get something, but I think there's a lot of great ways to go there. Brent Lockman says, plot twist, MJF is being genuine and just wants a friend. I'm open to a lot of different paths this can go, but ultimately, MJF is only serving himself no matter what.
Right. I think there's a wonderful opportunity for him to do something that Adam Cole just snaps on him about, and him to honestly be very hurt that Adam would treat him that way, and that to be the rift between them for like the finals of the tournament. Like, MJF just won't tag in because Adam Cole hurt his feelings. Like, there's could be some really fun stuff there.
Earlier you mentioned the unbeatable Athena. How about this one? Friday here on youtube.com/Fightful. Reg and Phil of Grapsity interviewing Athena, almost an hour long. It is up early for FightfulSelect.com Tier 2 subscribers. That gets you early access to interviews and a lot of other stuff. Also, we're going to have a very lengthy interview notes early up on Fightful Select for all subscribers on Thursday. You get that for all of our interviews at Fightful. So if you can't check them out, we post the summaries there on FightfulSelect.com for subscribers, just giving you all some more value. Check it out, just $5 a month. Bizarro Big L says, Keith Lee looked great tonight. Had a good run incoming. Finally, we got Nick effing Wayne. Eddie getting a G1 run, and his title dream hits you in the feels. What are your team names? I say Magic Meat and One Step from the Home. Well, I'd have to see all the team name or the teams again, but I mean, there are some wordplay with slapping tornadoes, slapping nuts. I'm sure.
That's good.
Like, gotta be. I would love if there was, which WWE owns the theme, but I can slap a nut. Yeah, that'd be great, but that ain't gonna happen. Big Bill and Brian Cage. I don't know. See, it's tough on the spot. But Kenny Omega defeated Wheeler Yuta. There were some good teases during this. Like, they actually sold me on this a couple times. And this match early on, it started off very slow. It picked up.
Oh, yeah.
They got me a couple times on this. They actually made me think, damn, they're going to do this in Canada. Kenny Omega got a star welcome, as he is a freaking star, of course, has been. But man, Yuta's gonna be feeling that neck tomorrow, Alex.
Yeah, he will. Yuta is one of those guys that is just an absolute workhorse. Like I don't. He's so great, and he's only going to get better and better and better. And we're going to look back at this time when he was in the BCC having these amazing matches as the prelude to what I think will be an amazing main event career. This was great because you had Omega selling the shoulder the whole time, all the way through, and Yuta just like hanging in there no matter what Omega threw at him. He couldn't put the kid away, and there was just awesome back and forth with the German suplexes and the snapdragons and everything. Leading to Don Callis being Don Callis, and he sent in his hired assassin Abon to come in there and attack him, but that didn't work. And eventually, I loved the finish, getting to the running one-winged angel, and that was it. The thing I got to do about this now, I got to go into my to my settings on my DVR. Because I'm always at least like 2 minutes behind, just because I'm running around doing stuff during those hours. But it cut off, and I had no idea that apparently there was this whole other thing that happened where the Bucks came down and Hangman and all that stuff. Had no idea, so I got to go back in and watch that.
I was using that nordvpn.com/Fightful, so I was watching on Fight and I saw it. But yeah, it looked like things went over a little bit. It seems like things went over time. Just a tad. So that ended up happening. The Dark Order showed up.
Yeah.
That was unexpected, but you know what? It makes sense. I love that they did that. I love that they didn't have them just getting rolled over per usual, but it was a chaotic ending to the show. Eloquent says, shout out to Diamante finally getting All Elite. Yep. Finally. I mean, I don't know if they gave her the official graphic or anything like that, but we did confirm today she is signed full time. We're going to be working on getting a lot more info on contract stuff. Like last week, we had mentioned they don't have any plans for Trench. Well, that's because Trench ain't with the company anymore. They got him the hell out of there. Yep. Kenny Omega again defeated Wheeler Yuta. Great end to the show. A good main event for Canada. They're filming the 200th episode of Rampage right now. They're supposed to have some big names. 100. Yes, I'm wrong. The 200th episode of Dynamite is coming up this month. The 300th episode of Listing Your Boy is this month. It's a good time. Did you see our intro?
I did see that. That was good. That's good stuff. Yeah,
pretty neat. Pretty good use of that insane amount of money that Jimmy spent on a Roman Reigns cameo. Elite Biscuits. At that point in my life, I was like, why didn't you just give me the money? I'm poor. I had a sinkhole in my yard.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Elite Biscuits says, Cole and MJF lose to FTR at Wembley. Fallout leads to a title match at UC. Ospreay Omega main events Wembley. Cole MJF main events All Out. Listen, man, I would be 100% in favor of Ospreay and Omega headlining Wembley. I don't know what plans they had with Takeshita and Omega at Wembley, but to me, I say, sorry, Wrestle Kingdom next year. We want this one for Wembley. We'll make it up to you.
For Ospreay?
Yes.
For Ospreay in England, you got to do it. And I think depending on how Kenny Omega comes out of that match, maybe you could do him and Takeshita at All Out. I don't know. I mean, there's things you could do there, but I think that Elite Biscuits has the most likely scenario there for all of those things. I think that Cole and MJF getting to winning the finals of the tournament and then going on to face FTR and ultimately splitting apart there is probably the play they do, which could easily then lead to a match between the two of them at All Out the following week. I think it could be really good.
Somebody says, who is Trench and why was he released? Well, he was released because he wasn't good. Trench was with the Mogul affiliates briefly, but he had been signed for quite a while, but wasn't used. Ricardo says, am I the only one that thinks the Owen straps are ugly? No, I'm sure a lot of people do. I mean, they are for decoration.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, nobody wears them. It's the first time I've seen either one of them since Adam Cole and Britt Baker won them last year.
Yes. Guys, thank you all so much. The dozens of you that I met in London, that was wonderful. Thank you all so much. It was a great time. You guys can see me in Detroit. I'll be there for SummerSlam, Lexington for Collision next month, Wembley next month. Doing a lot of stuff.
Just a world traveler.
Yeah, I mean, well, if I didn't want to travel, us doing like 11 million video views from Money in the Bank definitely got Jimmy to be like,
all right, fine. Now I gotta.
But
see, now you know all the good places to go in London. You can just now you know where to avoid, where you're gonna go back to, all that stuff.
I know what bridges that people piss under, which is all of them.
All of them.
But the fortunate thing is Fightful has grown so much that now when All Out hits Chicago, I can be like, hey, Iridian, hey, Phil, do you want to pick up some work? Because I ain't going to Chicago the day after my birthday. The day before my wife's birthday. 2 days before our anniversary. I ain't doing that this year. Jeremy, I think, is going to Pittsburgh to cover Payback. I'll be in Indianapolis to cover whatever the hell pay-per-view they got scheduled in October.
Fastlane.
There you go. You know what song they need for that?
What's that?
I'm traveling down the road and I'm flirting with disaster. And they need to have a promo where they've got like they're playing NASCAR 98 and shooting paintballs at each other.
That'd be good. I like that a lot.
Did you ever play that?
I think once or twice.
Oh, man, the paintball code was great. You just shot them out of the front of your car, and it would spin anybody out. That's the NASCAR racing game I want to play. Somebody said 11 million? Yeah, the Roman Reigns one got like 4.4 million on Facebook alone. We are on Facebook. We are on Threads. We are on Instagram. We are on TikTok. We are on Twitter. We are everywhere. But most importantly, guys, I so badly this year want to get to 100,000 subscribers. You know what else? I would love to get Fightful Select back up to 9,000 subscribers.
That'd be nice,
that'd be nice too before we start to live in poverty.
I know.
Before we start to live in squalor.
Yeah.
I so badly want to get up to 100,000 subscribers. Mike T90K says, hey, Sean, how much will it take you if you get up right now and do the Daniel Garcia dance to the wrestling world? If we get to 9,000 subscribers tonight, I'll do it. If we get to 10,000, I'll do it periodically throughout the next sour graps. Like you'll just cut back to me.
That sounds great.
I almost instinctively did the dance. You'll just cut back to me and be like, Sean, what'd you think of this segment? And I'll just be there dancing, doing it.
Yep. Yeah.
There you go, man. Alex, tell the people what you got going on.
I got going on Fightful Select to do the Sour Grap show Mondays with the great Miss Kate Fabe. Fridays, normally this week, we're moving Friday to Saturday, where I'll be talking about SmackDown with the trial of the Tribal Chief, Rampage, and also Collision. We're doing that on Saturday this week. Also, every Tuesday with Kate on this channel talking about NXT. And this Friday on the Know Your News channel, sister site of Here, on Get the Flick Out of Here, Kate and I are reviewing the Sylvester Stallone arm wrestling epic from 1987, Over the Top. So
Over the Top.
Check it out. It'll be a lot of fun.
Guys, thank you all so much.